Audio, video ready? Camera ready? Okay. So, Swamiji, I will I will welcome you and introduce you first, and then request you to talk on the topic of relevance of Bhagavad Gita in modern times. And then after your lecture, I will have question answer with you.
Yes.
So that would be the sequence.
Can you tell me the time limit? Like after you start or after I start, how long I am supposed to speak?
Do you have a preference how long you would like your talk should be? Whatever time you would like, we can adjust.
Okay.
We have 1 hour for the entire session. So if you like to talk, if your topic is for 45 minutes, we can reduce the question answer little bit accordingly.
Okay.
If your topic is little short, then we can increase the question answer.
Sure. Okay.
I think about 45 minutes talk will be good.
Okay.
I will take 2-3 minutes in introduction and welcome, and then maybe 42 to 44 minutes talk, and then maybe 12 minutes of question answer, because we do need 2-3 minutes to transition to the next session then. So that would be okay?
Yes.
Okay. So shall we start? You will first show me, and then I will. Then we will bring Swamiji once I announce. So first show me, and then we will bring Swamiji's frame when I welcome him. Can we count down when it started? Namaste to all the participants of Bhagavad Gita Summit, and it is my honor and privilege today to welcome Swami Sadatmanandji to our this special session. Namaste Swamiji and Pranam.
Namaste. Namaste.
A very warm welcome to you, and we are so grateful to you for taking time to join this special session. Very, very thankful to you. I would like to introduce quick introduction, and then we will start on the topic. Swami Sadatmanandji was born in 1962 in Gujarat, India. His spiritual pursuit started at a young age, even while he was in school. In 1997, he was initiated into sannyasa by Pujya Dayanand Saraswati. From 1994 to 2014, Swamiji was in charge of Asha Vidya Kendra, Bangalore. Well versed in scriptures and Sanskrit, Swamiji conducted regular classes on Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, Puranas, Sanskrit, and Prakran runs in Bangalore for 20 years. Since May 2014, he has been the Chief Acharya of Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, Coimbatore. He has deep love and respect for studying, understanding, teaching Shastras. He can convey subtle, complex, seemingly contradictory messages of Shastra with precision and clarity with his unique teaching style. His teaching style is comprehensive, simple, clear, with a lot of examples and laughter. He is light-hearted, full of compassion, easily accessible, and always ready to help. His vairagya and highly disciplined life, in keeping with Shastra, his love for accurate expression, His cheerful compassion and his dedication to parampara are a great inspiration to all. Please join me in welcoming Swami Sadatmanandji. Welcome Swamiji, and now I request you to talk on the topic relevance of Bhagavad Gita in modern times.
Yes. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsas Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Geetamrutam Mahatam. My namaskaram to all of you. Jai Shri Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Hari Om. At the outset, I congratulate the organizers of JK Yoga who have organized this Bhagavad Gita summit on the occasion of Gita Jayanti. This text is known as Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavat means the glorious. Srimad also has got the meaning glorious. So this text is a glorious song of the glorious Lord. And this Bhagavad Gita is in the form of a dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjuna. And it was compiled by Rishi Vedavyasa. So it is the teaching of Lord Krishna to Arjuna compiled by Vedavyasa. There are some misconceptions about Bhagavad Gita. One misconception is that Bhagavad Gita is only meant for swearing in the court. It is used for swearing in the court. Whatever I say, I will say the truth, nothing but truth. For this swearing, Bhagavad Gita is used. So many people may think that it is meant only for that. Only in the court it is required. It is not true. It is required at home as well. Another misconception is that Bhagavad Gita book is to be used for doing puja. So they keep it in puja room for doing puja of Bhagavad Gita. That also is not correct. Bhagavad Gita is to be used for at least chanting. One more misconception is that Bhagavad Gita chanting should be done only when somebody is dying. So Bhagavad Gita is meant for dying people. That also is not true. It is meant for living people. And some people think that Bhagavad Gita is to be used only for chanting. That also is not correct. Bhagavad Gita is to be understood. The meaning of the shlokas is to be understood. And some people think that Bhagavad Gita, being the part of Mahabharata, if Bhagavad Gita study is done in our house, then there will be a fight in our house. That also is not correct. In fact, Bhagavad Gita, if is studied well, it will bring peace, harmony in life. And one more misconception is there about Bhagavad Gita, that Bhagavad Gita is teaching to fight. The message of Bhagavad Gita is to fight. That also is not correct. Fighting is not the message of Bhagavad Gita. In fact, Bhagavad Gita emphasizes the value of ahimsa. Yes, there is a reference of this duty of Arjuna in the form of fighting. So that fight happened to be the duty of Arjuna, and therefore wherever there is a reference of fighting, it should be understood as performing one's duty. And some people think that Bhagavad Gita is meant for retired people. Only you have nothing to do, you study Bhagavad Gita. That also is not true. Bhagavad Gita is the guide for living our life, how to live our life. For that Bhagavad Gita is useful. Therefore, one needs to be free from all these misconceptions. And this Bhagavad Gita is having 18 chapters, and the first chapter and 10 slokas of the second chapter are providing the background behind the teaching given by the Lord to Arjuna. And this background is, there were two sets of cousins, Pandavas and Kauravas. Pandavas were given to Dharma, Kauravas were given to Adharma, and Kauravas had snatched away the kingdom from Pandava. And whatever condition to be fulfilled, whatever condition was kept, it was fulfilled by Pandavas, but still Kauravas were not ready to give their kingdom back. And therefore, it became necessary for Pandava to protect Dharma, to get back the kingdom by appropriate means, the means which are suggested in Shastra for Kshatriyas. The first mean is Sama, pacification. They tried to pacify Kauravas, did not work. Dhanam, they were ready to let go even half of the kingdom, more than half of the kingdom. They were even happy with one village, even one house with 5 rooms, but that also Kauravas were not ready. So that also failed. Then Bheda, they used some diplomacy, that also did not work. And therefore, as the last resort, they had to go for Danda, and that was Yuddha, war. So, Yuddha they did not want. It was thrust upon them. And that is why that Yuddha was Dharma Yuddha, the fight for the protection of Dharma. And Arjuna was very clear about it when he entered into the battlefield. And one great thing he had done is, he had made Bhagavan Sri Krishna as his charioteer, driver. That's a very important thing in life, that you have somebody in your life who guides the chariot of your life. And that's what Arjuna had done. If that is done, then in any crisis you will come out successfully like Arjuna. And then Arjuna requested Bhagavan to put the chariot between the two armies, and Bhagavan placed the chariot accordingly. And instead of seeing the warriors in front of him, he saw his relatives. And that made the difference. So in life, what is there in front of me is not so important. How I see what is there in front of me decides my response. And in case of Arjuna, his attachment to the relatives was surfaced. And that raga, that attachment, led to shoka, grief, and later on moha, confusion, seeing things upside down. And because of that, Arjuna's thinking was distorted. What was appropriate he found inappropriate, and vice versa. And he gave so many arguments. Bhagavan kept listening to Arjuna. When the student has pressure to talk, then teacher just listens. And that's what Bhagavan Sri Krishna did. And after Arjuna gave some break, took some break, then Bhagavan gave some pep talk, and he told him to get up, but that did not work. And therefore, Arjuna felt, when pep talk was given, Arjuna felt misunderstood, and he did further deliberation. And fortunately, he understood that he is confused. Acknowledgement of confusion is the first step to clarity. And that's what Arjuna did. And he found that he cannot solve this confusion by himself. And therefore he surrendered to Bhagavan. Swami Dayanandji says that when we are helpless, it is intelligent to seek help. So Arjuna surrendered and sought help from Bhagavan. And he said, Karpanya dosho pahatasvabhavaha pruchhami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha yachreyasyam nishitam bruhi sishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. So he said, I am surrendered to you. This seventh shloka of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is important shloka. It is called Prapatti shloka. And one Mahatma had said that if you have some confusion, you are not getting solution, then you chant this shloka 108 times at night. And after that you don't think or don't do anything. You do it for 7 nights before going to sleep, then you will get some solution from some Mahatma. This is the power of this shloka, as it is said by one Mahatma. And then he surrendered and then kept quiet. Tushnim babhuva. And when Arjuna kept quiet, then only Bhagavan started his teaching. From this we learn, if you want to listen to the teacher, first of all you have to learn to be quiet. And that's what Arjuna did. Then Bhagavan started Prahasanniva Bharata. With a smile on his face, Bhagavan Sri Krishna started the teaching. This shows that situation being the same, based on your wisdom or ignorance, you will have different response. Arjuna was very sad, Bhagavan was full of smile, joy, because there is a joy of sharing and also there is inner fullness which gets expressed in the form of joy, smile. And then Bhagavan started teaching, and in the 11th shloka, a very beautiful statement is there. Panditaha na anushochanti. Wise people do not grieve. It means, if you want to be free from sorrow, bondage, you need to be a panditaha, a wise person. One needs to have wisdom. Wisdom is the means for freedom from sorrow. That was the message given. And it is an important message. Whenever we have sorrow in our life, we can trace our sorrow to some ignorance, some confusion born of ignorance. Having said that, Bhagavan gave the teaching of the Atma, what is the true nature of Atma, and then he talked about Karma Yoga, which is necessary to prepare oneself for Atma Jnanam, self-knowledge. And while defining Karma Yoga, Bhagavan said, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Yoga is Samatvam. The sameness is called Yoga. Now the sameness cannot be there with reference to action. I cannot do the same action all the time. There cannot be sameness of the result. You cannot have the same result all the time. Therefore, sameness is possible only at the level of my attitude. And this attitude with reference to my karma and attitude with reference to the result of karma. And what should be my attitude while doing the karma? Bhagavan is going to tell in the 18th chapter, Swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. Let every action be the means to worship the Lord. It is otherwise called Ishvara Arpana Buddhihi, the attitude of offering the action to the Lord. And this attitude can be the same with reference to any action I do. Whether I like that action or I don't like, my attitude is the same. This action is to be done and I do it as my worship to the Lord. I am so much blessed by the Lord and I want to express my gratitude to the Lord, and this action is the means to express my gratitude, to express my devotion to the Lord. So with this attitude I do the karma, and whenever the result of action comes, in fact every situation is the result of karma. So any situation comes in my life, I look upon it with proper attitude. And what is that proper attitude? That is said in the 47th shloka, which is very popular. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuhu mate sangostva karmani. Means, I have a choice with regard to action. Whether to do the action, not to do the action, or do it differently. Ma phaleshu, with regard to the result, I do not have a choice. Result can be of any one of these four types. Equal to my expectation, less than my expectation, more than my expectation, or opposite to my expectation. Like this program is organized by this JK Yoga, then they might have expected that particular number of people will be benefited. And it happens equal to expectation. And because of some reason, there were less people who attended this program. Or it might be much more than what they had expected. Or sometime opposite result. Some speaker made some comment and it made some controversy, opposite result. All four possibilities are there. And all the results are decided by the laws of karma. And laws of karma are looked upon as the manifestation of Ishvara. And therefore, any result of any karma I receive, it is coming from the Lord. And anything which is coming from the Lord is looked upon as prasadaha. When you go to the temple and this priest gives you banana or peanuts, or in South India some rice, whatever you get, or some tulsi leaf, whatever you get is prasadaha, and you receive it very gracefully. Similarly, any result of any karma I have done is coming from the Lord, and therefore it is prasadaha. I look upon every result, every situation which is the result of karma as prasadaha. And with this prasada buddhi, I receive every situation, every result of karma in my life. And this attitude will work as a shock absorber. Shock means you will say, what? And when shock is absorbed, you will say, so what? And as you grow in your life, the gap between what and so what will be reduced. And thus, Karma Yoga is doing the action with proper attitude, the attitude of worshipping the Lord and receiving the result with proper attitude called Prasada Buddhi. And this Karma Yoga brings the purity of the mind, brings the grace of Ishvara, brings maturity in life, which will lead you to the next stage of sadhana. And then in that chapter, Bhagavan talked about the characteristics of wise people. And then in the third chapter, again Bhagavan talked about Karma Yoga elaborately. Various ways Karma Yoga can be looked upon, and one way of looking at Karma Yoga is my contribution to the harmony, to the cycle of give and take prevailing in this creation. In this world, if you analyze, there is a cycle of give and take. Every factor of nature receives and contributes. Only human being sometimes, misusing his free will, he remains only as a consumer and not contributor. So Karma Yoga is turning to be a contributor from mere consumer. I contribute to the cycle of creation, which is otherwise called yajnaha. Let there be yajna way of life where I contribute and my contribution becomes the worship of the Lord. And then at the end of that chapter, Bhagavan answered Arjuna's question that why people are led to do wrong action. Bhagavan said it is because of this desire, binding strong desire, kama esha krodha eshaha, and that can be handled by dama, mastery over the sense organs, shamaha, mastery over the mind, and viveka at the level of buddhi. Then Bhagavan talked about this avatara, how avatara takes place, in which situation it takes place. Yada yada hi dharmasya, when there is a decline of dharma and rise of adharma, Bhagavan takes avatara as an answer to the prayers done by so many devotees. And in that chapter Bhagavan said the knowledge of the self, knowledge of Ishvara is to be attained by going to the Guru, serving the teacher, surrendering to the teacher, one gets knowledge. And then 5th chapter talked about the self-knowledge further, and 6th chapter talks about dhyanam. And while talking about dhyanam, Bhagavan talks about certain preparations. One of the preparations is moderation in eating, sleeping and doing activities. And one more important thing he talked about as preparation, uddhared atmana atmanam na atmanam avasadayet. There are various interpretations. One is that don't look down upon yourself, respect yourself. Then some people may say, how can I respect myself? I am useless fellow, that's what people are telling me. I respect myself because I am blessed to be what I am. And I am a manifestation of Ishvara. And seeing myself as a manifestation of Ishvara, I can respect myself. Then 7th chapter talks about Ishvara being the cause of this world. He is the material cause, like clay is the material cause for all pots. And all pots are not separate from clay. Similarly, the world which is born of Ishvara is non-separate from the Lord. The Lord alone is manifesting in the form of this world. And then he talked about bhakti as the solution to the problem of samsara bondage. What is bhakti? There are various ways of looking at bhakti, the topic of bhakti. One is Satu asmin parama prema swarupa. Bhakti is in the form of highest love for the Lord. Reverential love for the Lord is called bhakti, which is born of understanding the grace of Ishvara, understanding the glory of Ishvara, understanding the compassionate nature of Ishvara. And another way of looking at bhakti is any activity, any sadhana which can lead the person to the attainment of Ishvara is bhakti. So this is a very wide definition of bhakti. Generally people think bhakti means only particular activities. Doing sankirtanam alone is bhakti. Doing japa alone is bhakti. That of course is bhakti, no doubt. But the wider definition of bhakti is any sadhana leading to the attainment of Ishvara. Therefore, karma yoga, as we saw now, is also bhakti because it leads me to the attainment of Ishvara. And upasana yoga, which includes ashtanga yoga, which includes sankirtanam, parayanam, chanting the Bhagavatam, chanting Bhagavad Gita, all of them are also called bhakti. So upasana means meditation on Ishvara, and puja, japa, all of them are all bhakti because they lead us to the attainment of Ishvara. And my pursuit of understanding the true nature of Ishvara, which is called Jnana Yoga, that also is bhakti. So we need not have this division that we are bhaktas and you are jnanis or you are jnana yogi, etc. One who is following the sadhana of jnana yoga is also bhakta. One who is doing meditation, puja, japa is also bhakta. And one who is following the sadhana of seva, doing one's duty with proper attitude, that person also is bhakta. We need not have unnecessary division and complex based on the sadhana. And Bhagavan talked about 4 types of devotees: Artaha, Artharthi, Jignasu and Dani. Artha Bhakta is the one who remembers the Lord when he is in trouble. Artharthi is the one who wants something material, worldly things from the Lord. He uses the Lord as the means to attain worldly achievements. Jignasu is the one who is Nishkama Bhakta because he wants Ishvara by understanding Ishvara. And Dani Bhakta is the one who has discovered oneness with the Lord. And this bhakti also can be seen as relating to Ishvara. And one can relate to Ishvara in 3 ways. One is, I invoke all-pervasive Ishvara in a particular form. Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Narayana, Devi, and worship that form. That is called Ekarupa Bhakti. And that is a wonderful beginning. It really helps in one's life to get lot of emotional stability, maturity, sense of security. Very, very useful. But that need not be and should not be the end of sadhana. Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks about the next stage of bhakti, which is called Vishwarupa Bhakti, where I look upon the Lord as manifesting in the form of the entire universe. He is not restricted to one particular form. He is not in a particular place like Vaikuntha only. He is available, manifesting in the form of the entire universe. What is considered to be good and not good, all of them are nothing but manifestation of Ishvara. That type of Ishvara which is the Ishvara of the people who have refined understanding, and that Ishvara is called Vishwarupa Ishvara. And worshipping that Vishwarupa Ishvara is called Vishwarupa Bhakti. Now question is that how can I appreciate Ishvara everywhere? Because I am seeing a mountain, building, person, animal, bird, etc. There are various ways. One way of appreciating Ishvara is just existence. That also is one way of appreciating. But that may be too abstract for most of the people. And therefore, one more way is talked about by our acharyas, and that is appreciating Ishvara as order, niyati. When any object is dropped, it moves down at a particular rate of acceleration. That is order, physical order. When I eat lot of fatty food, then I put on weight. That is called physiological order. When I have particular childhood upbringing, then I will have certain type of response to situation. If I was hurt, then I will be angry with the world. That is psychological order. Anything that is happening, anything is within this order. Whatever happens is following the order. I am talking now, it is order. You are able to listen, it is order. You are able to understand, that also is order. Not able to understand, that also is in order. And thus, in any situation, in any place, I can appreciate Ishvara as the order, which makes the thing the way the thing is. This book is book because of that order. Body is body because of order. A person is behaving in a particular way because of order. Thus, there is order which is governing everything, everyone in this world. And thus, I can appreciate the presence of Ishvara as order. And when I appreciate order, then I find everything is in order. And when I see everything in order, I see myself in order. Most of the people have got this feeling that there is a mess in my life, and when I appreciate order which is Ishvara, then I will find myself in order, and my reactions, my resistance will be reduced. And that is called surrender to Ishvara. The appreciation of all-pervasive order as Ishvara and reducing or dropping my resistance, that is called surrender to Ishvara. So thus Vishwarupa Bhakti was highlighted, and that will lead to finally Arupa Ishvara, Atmarupa Ishvara, and appreciating Ishvara to be myself is called Gnani Bhakti. That was talked about in the 12th chapter, and Bhagavan finally summed up the entire teaching in the 18th chapter. And after giving the teaching, Bhagavan said, I have taught you, Arjuna, but Vimrushya etat yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. This is an important message. After teaching, the teacher should leave it to the student, not forcing one's idea on anyone. So Bhagavan also said, yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. As you wish, so you do. But Arjuna was ready to do whatever is to be done. And then Sanjaya, who was reporting the dialogue, he said finally, Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishnaha, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So this Bhagavad Gita starts with the word dharma, and ends with word mama. So if we bring them together, we can say the content of Bhagavad Gita is mama dharma, my dharma. And these two words can be interpreted in two ways. Mama dharma means Bhagavad Gita is teaching what is my duty and how should I perform my duty with proper attitude. That is one topic of Bhagavad Gita. The second topic of Bhagavad Gita is what is my dharma means what is my swarupam, what is my true nature. And Bhagavad Gita reveals my true nature, which is one with Ishvara. And in the discovery of my oneness with Ishvara, there is freedom, there is shantihi, there is security, which is otherwise called moksha. So the message of Bhagavad Gita is, do your duty, do what is to be done with proper attitude, the attitude of worshipping the Lord through action, get purity and understand what is my dharma and discover your oneness with Ishvara. Then your life is fulfilled. That is the message of Bhagavad Gita, and that is the relevance of Bhagavad Gita. That Bhagavad Gita helps you to see how to do your duty, get purity and discover fullness within. You don't have to depend upon anyone to be happy. You are happy by yourself. You are Purna by yourself. This is the message. And this is the relevance of Bhagavad Gita. Om Tat Sat. If you have any question, you can ask. I am not able to hear.
Do we have audio check okay?
Yeah, now I am able to hear, yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Swamiji. What a wonderful session. You covered complete Bhagavad Gita from beginning to end, giving out the main messages and so beautifully explained. Truly enjoyed your pravachan. And with your permission, may I ask some questions so that we may benefit from the teachings of Bhagavad Gita in our life?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So, Swamiji, I would like to start with a question on our desire and wants for material things. I do understand we are into spiritual journey, but we live in this material world, and every time we come across things where people are wanting to do more and wanting to gather more and more things. We see our friends, we see people having better material possessions, for example, better house, better car, better TV, electronics, phone, so brand name clothing. So what does Bhagavad Gita teach us as far as living our life and how to handle this?
Bhagavad Gita says, Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Desire, if it is unopposed to dharma, righteousness, then it is okay. It is an expression of Ichha Shakti of the Lord. We need not suppress our desire. We need not hide our desire. But we make sure that our desire is not against dharma. And this desire is fulfilled in such a way that I don't violate any value. Moreover, there needs to be objectivity with reference to the objects of desire. Means, I should see that what I am seeking, what I am desiring, is it really going to give me what I am seeking in my life? Or I have projected some extra value. For example, I require good clothes to protect the body. Desire for clothes is alright, but I require some designer wear. I have to ask myself, what for I need this? Is it to show off? Do I need to show off? Do I not accept myself as I am? Why should I seek approval from others by wearing particular dress? Thus, one needs to learn to be more and more objective about the objects of desire. Let us bring down all our desires to objective level. Whatever is really necessary for the pursuit of Paramatma Prapti or whatever is necessary for the survival, we can definitely have it. But we make sure that what I want to have is meaningful. It is not just out of some pressure to show off. And when I have relative acceptance of myself, my need to show off will be reduced. And I can have relative acceptance when I start bringing Ishvara in my life. More Ishvara I see in my life, less there will be pressure to show off, and therefore all those unnecessary desires will be dropped. That is the message of Bhagavad Gita. Yes.
Thank you, Swamiji. Really liked your point that understand the objective, why we want to do this, and then use
Then you pursue
proper use of whatever we want to get to reach God. The next question, Swamiji, is about children. And I'm a mother, I have a son, and I face it myself also. So we see that children become more independent these days. And, when we grew up, we were more traditional in the sense that we were more respectful. We would listen to our parents. Even though we disagreed, we would keep quiet and we will listen. So there is a constant struggle of communication between parents and children, because now they are more outspoken. And any message that you can give to parents to improve their communication with their children?
First of all, look upon your children as the blessings you have received from the Lord. Don't look upon them as liability. See them as blessings. Second thing is, rather than insisting they should understand you, start understanding them. Generally, the parents' approach is, children don't understand us. But parents should think, are we understanding them? Are we sincerely trying to understand them? Their background, their peer pressure, their classroom situation, their friend circle, are we trying to understand them? In life it is important. The correction should start from us. Rather than insisting, struggling to make them understand, first you understand them. And the third thing is, follow the law of economics. In economics it is said, when supply is more, price comes down. So parents are doing too much supply of advice to their children. And because of that, children don't have any value. Like tomato season, no, tomato supply is so much, so price comes down. Similarly, the parents flood the children with advice so much that children don't have the mind to listen. Therefore, for your advice or your suggestion to be effective, you ration your quota. That you limit your quota of suggestion. Every day it should not exceed more than 3, 4, 5. Fix the number depending upon the age of the child. And try to make them feel loved by you. Give them message. Whatever you are, however you are loved by me and I am with you. Whatever happens, I am with you. That feeling of security will make them receptive. We give them sometimes, threat and all. that if you do this, I will not talk to you and all this. Don't do that. Instead of that, make them feel loved, acceptable as they are. Any reception takes place in the atmosphere of this love, care and acceptance. We create the hostility in our atmosphere, in our space with them, and we expect them to be receptive. It is unreasonable. So let us be reasonable first and then expect them to receive suggestion from us. Yeah.
Thank you for these practical tips. Truly appreciate it. The next question, Swamiji. People have difficulty finding time and mindset for doing seva. We are here in Radha Krishna Temple of Dallas, and I see this all the times, that people find fulfillment in material success and attachment, even in the world. So how can one understand or value the importance of seva or make time for it?
Yes. One thing is that, as I said during the talk, that one needs to see this fact that growth lies in being a contributor. Everybody is a consumer. There is no choice. You have to be consumer to survive, to live your life. But you can be a contributor as well. And when you become a contributor, you are growing. You are becoming bigger. You are letting go of your sense of insecurity. When you are only grabbing and consumer, you become more and more insecure. When you learn to give, when you contribute in terms of seva or whatever resource you have, then you grow big. And big people, when you grow big within, then small things in this life will not bother you. Now small things bothers you because your heart is very small. By becoming a contributor, you grow big. And when you grow big, you will see that you have more harmony, happiness, peace in your life. So we need to convince this idea. We have to communicate this idea to people that being a contributor is good for them. It will help them grow. Otherwise, they will continue to have this sense of insecurity. So when they understand the beauty of being contributor, then they will naturally become a contributor. And when they contribute, even in a small way, appreciate them. And don't make them feel bad about not being a big contributor or non-contributor. Because if you make them feel bad, then they are put off. So whenever anybody comes to the organization, make them feel good about coming to the organization. Don't force anything. Let them discover the beauty of being a contributor through your life. Through the life of the organizations, these participants will learn. So our life can be our message rather than simply preaching this idea of seva. Yes.
Sorry. Thank you, Swamiji. Next question is, people are not generally interested in spirituality. So how can we have appreciation of spirituality and incorporate that in our day-to-day living? We are most of the time focused in what is happening and just running after the material needs, taking care of whatever is required for our job, our career, our home, raising the children, raising the family. So spirituality is not really something that is really in front of us. So how can we have appreciation to incorporate that in our day-to-day living?
First of all, we need to remove the misconception regarding spirituality. In fact, most of the people have got some funny ideas about spirituality. I will not ask you, but there is some funny ideas. Spirituality means growing beard. Spirituality means putting bhasma. Spirituality means going to the ashram. Spirituality means joining some organization. All this can happen for a spiritual person, but all these things are not spirituality. So, first of all, we ourselves need to be clear what spirituality is, and we should communicate that to others. Let me clarify what is spirituality. Spirituality is my commitment to inner growth leading to discovery of oneness with the Lord. So, spirituality starts with my commitment to inner growth. And inner growth is necessary for my happiness. Mere material growth, physical growth will not give fulfillment in my life. I need to grow from within, and that commitment to inner growth is spirituality. And one need not come out of his house to be a spiritual. Remaining at home, doing one's duty properly, that also is spirituality. So we should widen the concept of spirituality. Otherwise, people will be put up with the idea of spirituality. People will think if I become spiritual, then I will leave my house and become a sannyasi. So people are afraid of spirituality. So we should remove that fear by removing the misconception about spirituality. Spirituality is commitment to inner growth, leading to the discovery of oneness with Ishvara. That clarity is there with us, and we can communicate to others. Then people will not be afraid of spirituality. Remaining at home, doing whatever they are doing with proper attitude. If just they change the attitude, they are spiritual. They don't have to leave the house. They don't have to do some special activities. They don't have to do even japa. Even without that they can be spiritual. If they do the duties properly, they are spiritual. There are various forms of spirituality, and everybody need not assume the same form, resort to the same form. Let spirituality be understood in a comprehensive manner. Then I think people will have value for spirituality. Yes.
So, you have covered so many points, so many concepts and takeaways from this lecture, so much to learn. Before we end, we are almost running out of time, but before we end, I would like to just request you one advice to our participants. That what is that one thing you would like them to remember or take it away from today's session?
Do what is to be done inspired by love, and let our life be guided by knowledge. That is our message. Yeah. Let all the activities be inspired by love. Love for Ishvara or love for some higher principle. It need not be Ishvara. Let our activities be guided or is inspired by love, and let our life be guided by knowledge. That is the message. Yes.
So beautiful, Swamiji, loved it so much. Truly, I have personally enjoyed this session and so grateful to you for sharing these valuable teachings of Bhagavad Gita with us today, and appreciate your time and being part of Bhagavad Gita Summit for the benefit of the entire world.
Okay.
Thank you and
Namaste.
humble pranam to you.
Namaste. Namaste. Oh. All right. Yes.